Talk about a return to reality. They fooled you yesterday. They beat the Braves to open the series, but boy, did they get walloped by the Braves tonight. 11-3 the final. Griffin Canning collapses, and the offense certainly doesn't do enough to overcome it. We'll break it down on tonight's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls. Hello, Postcast people, and welcome to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, even one like tonight, here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. 11-3, the final score tonight, a day after the Angels shock everybody and open up the series against the Braves with a win. They surprised nobody by getting blown out tonight. Chris Sale continues his ownage over our Halos. Griffin Canning continues to be abysmal in the first inning. And sure, the Angels had a lot of hits tonight, 11 to be exact, but only the Angels could have 11 hits and lose by 8 runs. Only the Angels could have 11 hits and only score 3 runs. Another bad game with runners in scoring position. Really a lot of empty hits and 15 strikeouts. 15! Oh my goodness. We'll talk about it all on tonight's show, but before we do, first and foremost, a shout out to everybody here, both in the stream and after the fact. You know I always appreciate all the support from you guys, even, showing up even late on a Saturday night in a blowout, abysmal game. Shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is Supply House. It's a reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at supplyhouse.com. And I'm always going to be honest with you guys. And I'll be honest right away. If you are familiar with Locked On, if you're familiar with this YouTube channel, you may see that I just did a show about the Rams game. The Rams, I'm the host for the Rams Postcast. I was on with Pete Fox, who's the host for the Chargers Postcast. We did a crossover Postcast because, the two LA teams were playing against each other. That game and that show ended right around the third inning of the Angels game. And so I was following, the game as the Rams game was ending. I was following the Angels game, not watching it though. And then obviously I did the show, so I wasn't really zoomed into the Angels game while I was doing the Rams and Chargers show. But boy, did I A, not miss a lot, and B, miss everything. In the greater scheme of things, boy, did I miss nothing because this was a blowout. But B, man, I missed the whole game. The game was arguably over in the first 3 batters of this game because Griffin Canning was terrible. He was terrible, and right away, he was terrible. A leadoff double from Michael Harris on just the 3rd pitch of the at-bat. Then Austin Riley gets a 5-pitch single, and then Marcell Ozuna has a long at-bat, but on the 7th pitch, boy, he got a hanging slider, and boy, was he sitting on it. Did he crush it? 107.7 exit velo, 437 feet. I mean, my goodness, he crushed it, he crushed it, he crushed it. Absolutely brutal. Griffin Canning, let's talk about him in the first innings. Coming into this game where he gives up 3 runs in the first inning, the ERA in the first inning for Griffin Canning, 8.63. This guy has started 24 games, which means he's pitched 24 first innings, and he has allowed 23 runs in the first inning. 24 runs, actually, 23 earned runs. So he's literally giving up a run an inning, 0.99 earned runs an inning in the first inning. He's given up 8 home runs. This is all coming into tonight. So now 9 home runs. Now 26 earned runs in 25 first innings. 9 home runs. Is that not ridiculous? This guy is giving up a home run less than every 3 games. Like every 2.5 or so games. Every 2.5 games. He's giving up not a home run in the whole game. A home run in the first inning every 2.5, 2 3/4 games. That's ridiculous. absurd. I don't get it. I don't know how in the world you can be that bad in the first inning. How many times have we said it? How many times, if you've ever followed baseball for more than a minute, this is the case. A starting pitcher, their job gets harder as the game goes on. The lineup gets more familiar with your pitches if they're a lineup that's not familiar with you. If they are familiar, but maybe they're not, used to how you're throwing tonight, or maybe they're not picking up the ball well, or maybe they're all settling in. Hitters have to settle in too, just like pitchers. To be that bad consistently in the first inning, it's not just a fluke. It's not a coincidence. There is something wrong, Griffin Canning. There's something wrong with your preparation. There's something wrong with your game plan coming into the games. There's something wrong with your scouting report of the top of lineups, because it's not a coincidence. It's not even a trend at this point. It is almost a certainty that Griffin Canning is going to give up a first run in the first inning, sometimes blow up like he did tonight in the first inning. So you immediately give up 3 runs right away. And so it's not surprising that the Angels are going to lose this game. If you follow this team, you know that if they give up a run or two early, the lineup rolls over. And as you see on the right here next to me, empty hits is what I'm saying in terms of the offense. You have 11 hits. You only score 3 runs. You also got some help with an error. So obviously, you see 11 hits, you think, oh, wow, actually a pretty good performance for the Angels, all things considered, offensively, especially going up against Chris Sale. But you only had 6 hits against Chris Sale in 6 innings. You got struck out 10 times. You scored 2 runs, but it should have been more based on all the hits you had tonight. Another 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. But all of that is just extra fluff. The story is that Griffin Canning made this game over right away. Based on how this team plays and rolling over when they struggle early, you knew it was over right away. And to make matters worse, Canning gives up another run in the second inning. And we see a short leash for a guy like Jose Soriano in his last start. But tonight, Griffin Canning given the freedom to go into the 5th inning. And sure, innings 3 and 4, you don't give up a run, but you've given up 4 runs right away through 2 innings. And not like fluky, 1, 2, 3, hit, including a 3-run shot. And then in the second, you go fly out, single, force out, stolen base, RBI single, Michael Harris, huge game. Sure, like I said, 1, 2, 3, third, 1, 2, 3, fourth, maybe gives you a little confidence. But boy, take that confidence right away in the top of the 5th. Leadoff homer to Whit Merrifield. 374, 102.6 exit velo. It's a 3-2 pitch. It's not even a terrible pitch, a high and in fastball. But when you're bad and when you're struggling, you struggle. I don't know how in the world you leave him in after that point, Ron Washington. I don't get it. We know how bad he starts games, but it's not like once he gets to the 5th, he's lights out. Okay, the ERA in the 5th inning, 4.03. The ERA in the 6th inning, 7.20. The ERA in the 7th inning is 12. So it's not like his 3rd inning is his best inning, a 2.25 ERA. But other than that, he's got over a 3.5 ERA in every inning. And when you already get blown out in innings 1 and 2, how can you expect him to turn things around? Sure, you give him the 5th. You give him a chance. He gives up a home run in the first at-bat of the inning. He's got to be taken out at that point. Somehow he's not. He's left in. He gives up a single to Michael Harris, who had a huge night once again. Austin Riley lines out. It's not like it was weak contact. He hit it 110.8 off the bat on a fastball right down the middle. So that really is a hit. Ron Washington is watching this and saying, we're going to leave this guy in. Then he walks Marcell Ozuna. And finally, apparently that's enough to make the change. You bring in Mike Baumann for Griffin Canning, because at this point you're already down 5-0. There's 2 guys on, and you're thinking, is it already throw in the towel? I mean, when you bring in Mike Baumann, it feels like it. And surely enough, he gets a fly out, but then he throws a slider right down the middle with 2 outs, 2 on. Travis d'Arnaud doubles. He scores 2, and it's 7-0, just like that. Okay, it's 7-0. The game's kind of already over, but hey, Mike Baumann, get out of the inning. Who knows? Maybe the Angels have a rally. No, how about hanging another slider on the very next pitch? Boom. 2-run home run. Ramon Laureano, we know the stuff he's done against the Angels in the past. 2-run home run for him, 426 feet. Absolutely destroyed it. Slider right there. It's 9-0. 9-0. So the pitching was awful. Specifically, Griffin Canning obviously starts it off horribly. The final stat line for him, 4 1/3 innings pitched, gives up 8 hits, 7 runs, all earned. He had a walk. He struck out 3, and he gave up 2 home runs. Then Baumann comes in, goes an inning and 2/3, gives up 2 hits, 2 earned runs. He also gave up allowed some of those runners that Canning allowed on. Bauman also allowed those guys in as well. So sure, only 2 earned runs for him technically, but the game was 5-0 when he came in. All right, and suddenly it's 9-0. So he was not great. Cisnero comes in, inning and 2/3, gives up a hit, 2 runs, one of them earned. There was a walk, a strikeout, an error contributed as well. Then Hans Kraus comes in for the last inning and a third, gives up just 1 hit, a walk, 2 strikeouts. He was the only pitcher who didn't allow a run in this game. Brutal stuff, brutal stuff. When we come back from the break, we'll talk about the offensive performance a little bit more. Like I said, 11 hits. That means somebody had to do something, right? Nolan Shano was great, a couple other guys, but not much else. We'll talk about that, and then we'll, preview the next game here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by one of our favorite sponsors, Liquid IV. Man, did the Angels need, as our loyal postcast viewers like to say, man, did our Angels need Liquid IV tonight. When you're taking in America's pastime, although tonight for the Angels didn't feel like America's pastime, felt like abuse. But when you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV, and specifically their new Popsicle Firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Now, if you're new to the postcast, you might not know this, but I am actually a very frequent user of Liquid IV. I am a weightlifter. I go to the gym 6 days a week, take 1 day off, 6 days a week to the gym. I'm also training for my first ever half marathon right now. And third off, I'm also just someone that sweats a lot. Whether it's during a workout, a weightlifting, a lift, during a run, or just sitting around, I like to sweat, especially in LA, especially in my, college apartment that doesn't have air conditioning. I sweat a lot. And when you sweat, you don't just lose water. You're not just dehydrated because you lose water. You also lose, key nutrients in your bloodstream, in your body. And you need the electrolytes to be replenished. What are electrolytes and how do you get them? Well, with Liquid IV, of course, all you do is tear, pour, and live more, because 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It's more than just a drink. It's a science-backed way to hydrate better. Powered by LIV Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. They're 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. So, no more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. And today's show is also brought to you by Supply House. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, electrical supplies, or electrical products, online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. So join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Back here live at the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I'm frustrated. I'm not going to lie, because boy, were the Angels terrible tonight. 11-3 the final score. Griffin Canning, abysmal. Gives up 7 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings. The relievers, not much better. The bullpen, 11 hits for the offense, but pretty empty hits when you think about it. Just 3 runs to show for it. All 3 coming when you're already down 9-0. Gavin's good, bad, and ugly. It's the latest segment here on the postcast. The ugly is obvious. It's Griffin Canning. All right. The bad is the rest of the bullpen. The other bad is the hitting with runners in scoring position. 1 for 7. We talked about that. They stranded 9 runners on base tonight. And the other bad, and actually not bad, this is ugly as well. The 15 strikeouts. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Now, what are the goods? Were there any, despite losing 11-3? Yes, technically there were when there was that many hits. Taylor Ward was 2 for 5. he also had 3 strikeouts. So the full Taylor Ward experience. Suddenly he's our new everyday leadoff hitter. I don't know if I like that. But whatever, it is what it is. Zach Neto, 1 for 4 with a walk, a strikeout. Nolan Schanuel is the player of the game by far. 3 for 5 with 2 runs. Kind of a leadoff hitting performance, if you ask me. A guy gets 3 hits. He doesn't strike out once. He also scores 2 runs. Maybe he should go back to being a leadoff hitter. That's just me. Taylor Ward seems to be hitting better at the leadoff spot, but at the same time, I just think it makes sense logically wise to have Schanuel leading off. Kevin Pillar finally got to play. He played well. 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. He did have 2 strikeouts, but so did just about everyone. Nolan Schanuel, the only guy in the lineup that did not strike out tonight. Logan O'Hoppe returns to being awful at hitting lately. Brutal for him. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. He did reach base with the walk, but man, that average and OPS are just plummeting for Logan O'Hoppe. Brandon Drury, 1 for 4, the usual thing for him. He actually brings his average up a lot with that performance. He's hitting 162. Joe Adell, 1 for 4, 2 strikeouts as always for him. Stefanik just 1 for 4 with a strikeout. And then Mr. Lopez, Jack Lopez, makes his Angels debut, and he goes 0 for 3. 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Jack Lopez is a guy that was called up for Luis Guillermo. He's 31 years old, and yet he's only had 16 at-bats in his career. 17, actually, in his career. He's got 2 hits as a 31-year-old. He's a lifelong AAA guy, AA guy, and he looked like it tonight, unfortunately. 0 for 4 for him with 2 strikeouts. So, yeah, the last time he played on an MLB roster was not even last season, the season before that with the Red Sox. But apparently the Angels felt like calling up, nothing says looking out for the future like calling up a 31-year-old. Yeah, and he looked like a 31-year-old that's used to being in minors. The only goods, Nolan Schanuel looked good. Hopefully he can continue. We know Neto's been the superstar as of late, but Nolan Schanuel has quietly been the number 2 as of late, as Logan O'Hoppe continues to be the worst of the 3 in that future triangle of hopefully future superstars. Still think O'Hoppe has it in him, but boy, lately he's not showing it. He literally was hitless in his last 29 coming into yesterday where he had the home run, and he's starting a new hitless streak, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts tonight. Once again, that's how you know he's not playing. It's not just a unlucky thing. Unlucky is hitting a lot of hard balls or hitting balls right at people. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Something is wrong with Logan O'Hoppe, and it's mental, I think, above all else. Sometimes you don't see the ball well. That's how baseball works. But not seeing the ball well is weak contact. 3 strikeouts every night there's something up. Hopefully he's okay mentally. Hopefully he's okay physically. And hopefully he can get back to being the Logan O'Hoppe we know and love and want to see going forward as the rest of the season progresses. But yeah, brutal. Anthony Jimenez says, the radio broadcast said that Taylor Ward should petition to continue to use the pencil bat after the Players Weekend concludes. Yeah, I guess he's hitting, pretty decent since, Players Weekend has started. But still 3 strikeouts. So not really what I want to see from leadoff guy, even if he does go 2 for 5. Once again, I think Schanuel should be the leadoff hitter still. But we're going to take our last break. When we come back, we'll talk about the state of the rotation, because we found out that Jose Soriano is headed to the IL. Griffin Canning just had the start that he had. We know how bad the rotation already is. Jack Kohanowitz is starting tomorrow. So what now? Is it time for Reid Detmers? We'll talk about that after our last break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, finally, today's show is brought to you by a new sponsor, and it is Tonal. For those of us who thrive on getting stuff done, including workouts, every minute counts. That's why you need Tonal, the smart strength training system that takes the guesswork out of working out, so you can make sure you're making the most of every rep. When life gets busy, fitting in a workout can be stressful, but with Tonal, you can have efficient workouts personalized just for you, and they're available with the amount of time you have. Even the most dedicated gym goers struggle with consistency. Boy, is that true. That is me. And right now, it's the summer. I'm working a bunch of part-time jobs. I'm not even at what I'm going to be in a couple months, maybe even, a couple weeks at this point, which is full-time 9 to 5, like so many of you are, if not more than that. So, even a guy like me who literally goes 6 out of 7 days, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 3. It's hard to be consistent. The commute, waiting for weights, other people sweat. It makes skipping a workout very tempting. But with Tonal, you can choose from thousands of workouts and train in a way you actually enjoy at home. If you don't know, Tonal is the world's smartest and most effective strength training system that helps you get stronger. Powered by AI, Tonal learns with every rep so it can deliver workouts personalized just for you. Tonal learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations from every move with detailed progress reports. They even create personalized program and workout suggestions or recommendations based on your individual goals. It's like having a personal trainer at home with you, as Tonal will optimize every workout just for you. And unlike the traditional gym equipment, it uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques. From professional athletes to the mom of three, Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tonal.com and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for, yes, you heard me right, $200 off your purchase. That's Tonal.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off. Back here live one more time on Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I hope you joined me either live or after the fact for the Locked On Rams Postcast earlier today. The Rams were victorious 13-9. I know if you're not a Rams fan and maybe you're a Chargers fan, you don't love that because obviously they were playing the Chargers. It was a fun episode. It was a crossover with my guy Pete Fox, who does Locked On Dodgers and Locked On Chargers. So check that out if you haven't already. Trying to build that community as well here on Locked On Sports Los Angeles community. Of course, you're here because you're an Angels fan, and boy, my condolences to you and to myself because it is brutal. Today we learned about Jose Soriano being sent to the IL. Brutal stuff for him. 15-day IL. That's why Jose Soriano was pitching today. He was called up today due to the Soriano injury. Jose Soriano was on the 60-day IL list. Jose Soriano is headed to the IL with what they're calling right arm fatigue. Don't really know what the heck that means. They also transferred Luis Rengifo to the 60-day IL to make space for Cisnero. I don't know why he wasn't there already because he underwent season-ending wrist surgery earlier this month, so I don't really know why he wasn't already there. But yeah, a bummer for Soriano, who, like we all know, I love. All right, he's 25 years old. He's really been a breakout player this year. I'm reading off his stats. Since joining the rotation on April 10th, a 3.36 ERA, 3.98 Sierra, and 2.1 Fangraphs WAR over 20 starts. He leads all Angels starters in all three of those metrics. And the interesting thing is that Ron Washington claims that he could tell Soriano was tired in the last start. I mentioned earlier in this show and yesterday, didn't know why Soriano got pulled so early, only 3 1/3 innings. But the word from Ron Washington is that he could tell that Soriano was tired and he lifted him so that he, quote unquote, he didn't hurt himself. So arm fatigue, whatever, don't know how serious that is. Doesn't seem like a real issue. Soriano, obviously, if you don't know, a former reliever converted to a starter this year. So maybe this is just what happens when a guy has been stretched into a starting pitcher while being a reliever his whole career. Maybe, fatigue sounds like a reasonable thing. Now what, though? Because Griffin Canning's terrible. He's not going to get sent down, but he's terrible, clearly, once again. We know what's up with Patrick Sandoval and Chase Silseth. They're gone. Tyler Anderson's still there. Now it's Jack Kohanowitz and Davis Daniel. Is it time for Reid Detmers, though? Because if you forget, if you weren't here on the postcast yesterday, I told you, Reid Detmers was great last night. We talked about it a little bit during the postcast. He was really good. Really good. 8 innings pitched. He gave up 3 hits. I'm trying to pull up the exact stat line for you guys, but here it is. He pitched not the entire game. He pitched 8 innings, just gave up 3 hits, just 1 earned run, just 2 walks and 11 strikeouts. We're trying to see him develop his secondary pitches better, trying to see him have a lot more control. Well, how about 11 strikeouts to 2 walks? That's great. How about only 3 hits? And one thing I don't want people to think is, oh, well, it's really easy to pitch in the minors. This is what he's supposed to do as a former starting pitcher. No, it was not easy for him earlier this year. In the month of June, the ERA was 6.42. That included 1 start for the Angels, but in the minors, He started off his minor league career, or this season at least, June 7th, 5 innings pitched, 10 hits, 7 runs. All right. June 25th, another really bad start for him. 6 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. You start the month of July with a 6 hits in 6 innings, 5 earned runs. Then the next start, 2 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs. So it's not been easy at all. Even started the month of August. 3 and 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 home runs. It's not been easy. But finally, he put it all together yesterday with that 3-hit performance, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks in 8 innings. So hopefully he's hot. Hopefully he's feeling better. And hopefully if he gets called up, which that is being, thrown around by Angels fans, by analysts, by everyone. If he does get called back up soon, specifically with this Jose Soriano situation, hopefully he can find some success, because there's still a slight bit of hope that maybe he can amount to something as a major league pitcher. Boy, do we need him to, with the state of this rotation. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. We're going to wrap this one up pretty quickly, because I'm going to be honest, I'm very tired. I already did a Rams postcast earlier today. Also, this game was brutal, 11-3, so not much else to say. We'll real quick get to your comments, as we always do. BC's in here spewing Dodgers stuff, don't like that, but he does say Rams are greater than Chargers. We like that. I saw him at the Rams postcast earlier today. Jeff said he was checking in at work, happy we didn't get shut out. I love how Jeff normally is predicting a sweep, but today we get blown out, and he's positive? Funny. Jeff, we love you. Anthony Jimenez says, what up? He also already talked about the pencil situation with Taylor Ward. And then he says, so far, Rendon has not been added to the IL. So far. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. He did get hit on the elbow yesterday and left that game early. Skyler always has good takes. He says, as much as I want to be upset about this loss, I'm not, because I knew we were not going to show up. Fud Alex says, the score was 4-0, second inning, so I didn't watch the game. Yeah, pretty valid from all you guys. I did the opposite thing. I missed the first couple of innings doing the Rams show, and then I show up to the score already being 7-0. Being 9-0 at one point, I believe it got to. So yeah, absolutely brutal stuff. Brutal day as an Angels fan. Just wipe this one out of your memory. Hopefully we can steal one tomorrow. Charlie Morton versus Jack Kohanowitz. Old versus young. Good team versus bad team. Let's see if the bad team can steal a series win. That being the Angels, of course. We're going to wrap this one up. Shout out to everybody in here. 11-3 the final. The Angels get absolutely blown out. Hopefully they can do better tomorrow. I'll be live, as always, after every single game. Appreciate the support. I hope you guys appreciate me for coming in every single day, even after a game like this, even after doing another show. And I appreciate you. You guys are the reason I do. I'll be honest. If you guys weren't as loyal and amazing as you were, or always are, I would not have done this show tonight. I would have taken the day off, or the night off, said I already did a show today. I got one in me. But because of you guys, I wanted to do this show, even though we got blown out, because I appreciate how loyal you guys are. But with all that being said, Angels lose 11-3. Griffin Canning, terrible. The offense, not much better. Hopefully we can steal a series win tomorrow. And even after a game like tonight, you know the deal. Go Angels. Have a great Saturday night, everybody.